Hey everybody, this is Raul for Bass Musician Magazine, and today we have the great honor and pleasure of having a chance to chat with bassist out of sunny Southern California, Justin Emord. Now, Justin is bassist for Love and 38, and you hail originally from SoCal, I guess, the LA area, basically.
Yeah.
So that our readers can get to know you a little better. Tell us about your bass journey. How'd you get started and all of that stuff?
So my journey actually started kind of interesting. I started on piano actually back in fourth grade. My parents tried to get me in private lessons, and it didn't stick. So my school got a music teacher when I was in fourth grade, and it stuck. I learned piano. I did classical. I did jazz. And then I just started wanting to learn more and more. So I picked up guitar. I went to Sam Ash and put a down payment on my first Jackson Randy Rose Flying V. And then I started writing music because I saw Trans-Siberian Orchestra live at Madison Square Garden. And it changed my life. Everything about that show, the way they performed, their stage presence, um, it was just unlike anything I'd ever seen up until that point. And I wanted to start writing my own music. So I started writing, and then I realized you can't do the band thing if you don't have a bass. So I went out and bought my first bass. It was a blue Sunburst Ibanez. And I started playing and playing and playing. And, shortly after I finished high school, I quickly realized nobody in LA plays bass a lot. Everyone wants to be a guitar player. So I switched to bass because that's where the work was. And I've just really, really enjoyed the journey. Starting from back then to really, really embracing the four strings and just learning everything I can about bass.
Gotcha. And how did you evolve into the bands that you're playing with? How did that happen?
So one of my old bands was called Spectra. We did a lot of stuff here in LA and up and down the West Coast. And a lot of times we'd be headlining the Whiskey, Viper Room, Cat Club, stuff like that. And 11 to 38 was around, they started about the same time we did back in like 2008. And I just got to know the band because they would be playing gigs around the same time we would. And, we'd be playing one club, they'd be playing down the street at another club. And so I got to know the band. And sure enough, at NAMM, I was doing an autograph signing for one of my sponsors, and they were walking by the booth. And we were just talking, and jokingly, I was like, hey, you guys need a bass player? And they're like, actually, our guy's about to quit. We do. So I just handed them my card, and I was like, call me, I want in. And that was in 2010. So I've been in the band for 7 years now.
Nice, nice. Well, it sometimes happens how, you're in the right place at the right time that something like this can kind of land in your lap. The planets align perfectly and you get that. And for those that aren't acquainted with the kind of music, you're predominantly it's more on the rock end, kind of metally, or how would you describe what you guys play?
We usually get lumped in with like Aerosmith, Cheap Trick. We're a very bluesy rock band.
Okay.
But we try and stay away from saying we're hard rock, we're classic rock, we're whatever. We kind of embrace a it's all rock and roll to us kind of vibe.
Gotcha.
We do stuff on our last album, Nomads, that came out. Our big single was Oh My God, which was a very blues stomp kind of song. But then we had songs that were a lot more in the vein of Muse and Rise Against. That was just very modern, hard, aggressive rock. So we really just write whatever comes to us. We don't ever really try and set out to do a certain style or type. We just let the music flow, and whatever comes out, it stays within our unique brand. We don't, we have a pretty big box of music. And so we try not to be constrained and just write whatever comes to us. And it's usually just, because I use pretty vintage-ish kind of gear, and then our guitar player, he plays an old Gibson through a Fender Twin. So it's going to have that vintage sound to it, and then he uses fuzz pedals and stuff too. So it's got that vibe, but what we do with it sonically and, melodically, it hits different subgenres of rock, but it's all rock and roll.
Nice. Well, and as with all music, there's an evolution continuously going on, and so it's always interesting to see how different groups are kind of taking it and moving along with it. And of course, there are groups that tend to try to stay pure to the original form. So, like if we had the pleasure of seeing Zepparella when they were touring here in Portland, and of course it's very Led Zeppelin. And the idea is keeping it as true to the Led Zeppelin original format. So it's kind of what they're looking to do. But on the other hand, while I was at the NAMM show, I had a chance to talk to bassist from Spain, Pepe Bao, and he is actually incorporating blending Metallica with flamenco style bass playing. And,
oh, wow.
And so he's kind of, trying to, he's mixing these things together to expand what's inside of the box. So he's not pure Metallica, and he's doing his own thing. So, it's interesting to see how the music is progressing. Now, for a musician as young as you are, I know you're also involved with giving back and community service. You're involved with NAMM has a support music coalition, and so you're teaching music
Yes.
as well. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so about 3 years ago, when I got my artist pass for the NAMM show, there was a little link on the bottom saying that they needed volunteers. And I think I got it because it said artist on my pass. So I think just like that code, like digitally, kind of signaled like, okay, he plays. He's not, a visitor going to try and meet people. Like he probably plays. So I looked at it and said that they were looking for volunteers to help teach because they were going to be doing this day of service. And when I was in high school, I actually used to teach guitar, and I did that as volunteer work to try and get credit for college. So I've got a background in teaching. So I was like, yeah, like this seems like a great thing. Like I got my start in music, like I said, in the school setting.
Mm-hmm.
So I just saw it as a really unique opportunity for me to give back to really what gave me my start and set me down the path that I'm on. Because like I said, I tried with the private lessons and it didn't work, but the school setting, for some reason, that worked for me. And I know that's really opposite from a lot of people, that school doesn't work, but when they get the one-on-one, that's when things click for them. But it was the opposite for me. So I saw that opportunity to, give back, because I know the situation is really bad with schools. So I saw that as a chance to give back and try and do my part and help these kids so that they could get started on their musical journey. So I've been involved with them for 3 years now. I'm one of the only people left that have continued through all 3 years of the program. But it's great. We go down to some school in Anaheim every year, and we change it up every year. So we go to a different school with a different group of kids, and it's really cool. I've gotten to know the superintendent of the school board, and she's just doing an amazing job down there, just trying to help and do her part. She's super passionate about music and getting things back on track. And she was telling me, I've gotten to know her pretty well over the last couple of years, and she told me last year that Anaheim didn't have a program for almost 20 years. So like that NAMM is now doing, because every year we also donate a check to the school board so that they have the funds to pay for supplies, pay the teachers. And so we've been doing that, and it's been great. I love it. I've gotten really close with the NAMM Foundation, and I absolutely love working with them. It's a great cause, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Now, when you're teaching, are you teaching music in general, or are you staying with bass, or how does that work?
So what we do is it's a cycle. So we have different stations set up. So there's a guitar class, there's ukulele, there's a drum circle, and then this year Hal Leonard got involved, and they did a music and movement dance class. So the kids get cycled through all 4 groups. So they have about an hour with each station, so they get an equal opportunity to pick up all different kinds of instruments and explore music. And it's cool. Like this year, we've been doing this 3 years, and the difference it's made teaching these kids this year. We also had 6th graders this year. We've taught, the first year we started with 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Mm-hmm. And this year we had 6th graders. And the difference in the age, and also the fact that they've now had music programs in school, it was just such a huge difference in the ease of teaching these kids. Like they're familiar with the musical language now, which they weren't when we first started this. So factor that in with just the age, and now they're older, so they can pay attention more, and especially the kids when they come to the guitar class, their hands are a little bit bigger, so they can get around the neck a little bit easier. So it's really cool. I love doing it, and I'm going to be working with NAMM a lot more this year on those kind of causes.
Excellent. And if somebody in that area wanted to get involved with that, because again, this is, I think a lot of times people don't even know that something like this exists. How would they do that?
So the Support Music Coalition, that's strictly for NAMM members.
Okay.
So if anyone out there is a member of NAMM, you work for a company or something, you can go to the NAMM website, and I think it's under coalitions. There's a link, and you can get email subscriptions and updates. So whenever they do different things, or there's just updates going on. We also do different call-ins where we talk and discuss about different things going on across the country. So you can get involved with those calls too if you're a NAMM member.
Gotcha. Well, and I think many people, I would hope that everybody's aware of the fact that the arts in education have been greatly neglected to a huge extent, with having funds cut and teachers, scrapping by to somehow get something going, whether it's a box of kazoos or, boxes of rice as maracas or something. They've had to get really creative. But I don't think there's any shadow of a doubt about how much evidence supports that even if the students don't pursue a career in music, being involved with music helps their cognitive skills and their analytical skills, and it makes them more balanced individuals. I read a study where they were showing better math results from students that were involved with music. And so again, it's really an area that I think it's really sad, and I think it's almost like everybody just thought it was being taken care of, and then all of a sudden you look and these programs are like gone. And you're like, yeah. How did this happen? So it's highly commendable, and of course anybody seeing this, it takes one person to get involved, and if enough people do this, it can really make a huge difference. And I'm sure the satisfaction down the line, if you see one of your students performing, that they'll say, hey, remember that time when I was, in 5th grade and you came by and this is what happened. My family, my mom and dad were both teachers, and after many years on Facebook, I've had people contact me and say, because your dad taught me chemistry, I've had a career as a pharmacist all these years and stuff, and it's like, I'm so grateful that he dedicated some time to me learning, him sharing his knowledge. So this is a tremendous thing, and it's highly commendable, and hopefully more people will follow your example and get involved. Changing tacks, because always it's good to talk about gear. You mentioned kind of a retro sound. Tell us a little bit about your arsenal, what you're doing gear-wise.
Yeah, so bass-wise, I'm actually sponsored by Dean Guitars. So I've got 2 basses from them right now. I've got their John Entwistle model. Mm-hmm. It's an incredible bass. It's based on his Fender Bird. So I used that. That was the first one I got from them almost 2 years ago. Great bass. It's awesome. It's got EMGs in it, which they also sponsor me. So it's great to have a bass that's already set up with the product that I use. Nice. It's got a 3-band EQ on it, which I was actually telling my artist rep at EMG how much I love it because of there's this song Born to Make Me Die on Nomads, and we do this breakdown towards the end of the song after the solo, and in post I had it re-EQ'd to be a lot more bassy and a little bit more subwoofy, and having that 3-band EQ, I can just flatten the highs and boost the lows and do what I did on the album in post live on the fly on stage. So I love that. Nice. So I was using that bass for a long time. And then last year at NAMM, my artist rep told me he wanted me to get backup for that one. So I let him know what I wanted. And I also like to use a lot of colors when I record and play. So as much as I wanted to get another one of the end whistles, I just knew that wasn't. It would be fun for a collection, but as far as like actual practicality, it didn't make sense to just get another of the same thing. So they just put out their Paramount and Juggernaut, which is basically their P and jazz bass. They put those out, and I used to play. Which is funny, how I got sponsored by Dean was I used to work with their sub company. So it's Armadillo Enterprises, and they run Luna guitars, Dean, and D drum. I used to be a Luna artist several years ago, and I used to use their P bass. I actually don't have it anymore. Hard Rock Cafe actually has it up in their cafe in Los Angeles here at Universal Studios. And that, again, we made this huge ceremony about music education. We worked with Matt Sorum and his Adopt the Arts program and donated money to them so that they could help the LAUSD. So, we took that and made it into this big music education awareness and charity night. So that was cool. So now that bass is up at the Hard Rock at Universal Studios. So I told Dean about that because I wanted to get involved with them. And they were just like, oh, that's great. Like, yeah, if you're already familiar, like, you're doing good. So I started working with them. So when they offered me another bass, it kind of just seemed like a just obvious choice to go for their P bass. And it's amazing. It's so much better of a bass than I expected it to be. Because, a lot of companies do the rip-offs. They do their Les Pauls, their SGs, their copies. And they're just kind of low market, not great, nothing to write home about. So I wasn't really expecting an incredible bass. I thought it'd be a fun backup, but I figured my end whistle would still be the superior of the two. And I just can't put my P bass down now. I love it. It's black finish. I actually retrofitted it with the gold anodized Fender pick guard, so it's got that 57 P bass look to it, and the pickup bit, the Dean pickup is a DMT. And it kills. It's such a great pickup. It just has this really nice mid-range that I love. It just sounds so good. It just has a really nice feel to it. So those are the two basses I use. I'm also sponsored by Stage Ninja Cables. They're out of Midwest. I've been working with them for over 10 years now. And I use their cables for both my speakers as well as my actual cables I run on my bass and my amps. And for amps, I use Ashdowns. I use their ABM series. Nice. And I also use some of their pedals. I use their overdrive and their fuzz pedal. And those are great. I've been working with Ashdown for a couple of years, and they're great guys. And those amps just have that really vintage kind of sound. And they first came on my radar because a lot of venues here in LA, they actually stopped backlining with amp pegs, and they started switching to Ashdowns. And so they got on my radar pretty early on, and I just kind of forgot about them. Sorry, guys. Yeah. But we started doing other shows that there wasn't a backline, so they kind of just out of sight, out of mind. And then they came back on my radar again, and I started working with them as soon as I got into 11 and 38, like 7 years ago. And their amps are great. I love the sounds that I get out of it. It's got a really cool, front panel. So it's got a built-in valve drive. It's got it's even got a subwoofer, so it's got a little octaver on it. So that's fun to play with. A lot of the fuzz stuff we do to it. It's fun to mess around with that.
Gotcha. And looking ahead, what projects are in the future? What have you got in the hopper ready to start going?
We're going to be doing a lot more shows this year. Last year we did pretty good, but we're not happy with pretty good. We want to do a lot more. We want to do bigger. We want to do better. So we're looking at some tour options. We just had a show here in LA the weekend after NAMM. So that was huge. That was great. Good turnout. We started debuting some of our new music. So we're also working on a new record right now. Nice. And we debuted a couple of the new songs that we have pretty close to finished. So we played a couple of those at the show, and it was awesome. People seem to really dig them. It's going a little bit more vintage on this album. We've got some Rolling Stones-ish kind of stuff going on, which is awesome. We love all that vintage stuff. It's just cool. It's fun to play with that palette. Because the last one we did was a lot more hard rock. It's still very vintage, but it was just most of the album was on 10. So we're also working with dynamics a lot on this new record. So we're gonna be doing that, and I'm gonna be working a lot with NAMM in between as well. So I'll be doing different stuff with music education with them, and then I also work with the House of Blues. They've got a group similar to NAMM. NAMM does a lot of stuff, government wise. They've got an advocacy week going on in Washington D.C. in May, where they're going to go to Capitol Hill and talk and try and work with the government at a federal level to try and change things across the country. So they do that stuff. But the House of Blues does kind of like a School of Rock kind of thing, where they take kids 13 to 19 that are in bands, and they give them a House of Blues stage. They've got it's Chicago, New Orleans, here in LA, and a couple of more. They're looking to expand. They're going to be working with the new Anaheim one, so I'm sure they'll probably try and start doing some stuff, NAMM Jam kind of stuff when that cafe opens for next year for NAMM. But I'm going to be working with them also coming up in these next couple of months. And they basically just take industry people and do panels and workshops so that these kids can learn from a presentation from industry people about different aspects of the music industry. So marketing, PR, stage presence, stuff like that. And then they go and actually get to play on a House of Blues stage in front of another separate panel of musicians and music industry people, and then they critique them kind of like a Voice American Idol kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And tell them what they can do better about songwriting, performance, all that stuff, so that they can get better and get a really good early start on music and not learn necessarily by failure along the line down the road, but get informed and get the knowledge early on so that they can try and get a better start out of the gate than a lot of us did. So I think it's a great program. I wish something like that existed when I was growing up. So I'm going to be working with them. I'm going to be doing some panel stuff with them and probably some ambassador work as well. So it's going to be a busy year between the band and my philanthropic tendencies that I have lately.
There you go. And if somebody, after they've seen all this, they go, gee, I want to follow more what Justin's doing, where would be the best place for them to, see where you're touring or anything like that?
You can follow me on all my personal pages, Justin Emord. But then we also have all the band pages. You can go to facebook.com/loveinto38. We have an Instagram, YouTube. Our official website is loveinto38music.com. So we keep all that stuff updated almost daily. We post different stuff. Even, we try and also be a bit of a site for music news. So if there's interesting things going on in music, we like to talk about that on our pages as well. Mm-hmm. So if you want to just have a forum to talk music, our pages are there for that as well. But you can go to any of those and they'll keep you updated on new music videos, anything going on with us. You can find all of that on our social media as well as our official website.
Excellent. Well, Justin, we appreciate you taking time to chat with us. Obviously, very busy schedule. I know it's rough sitting in the sunshine there.
It's tough. It's really tough.
I know. People are going to go, oh man, that's really rough. Especially our readers on the East Coast that are getting, I don't know how many more inches of snow today. But again, we appreciate it. Definitely keep us abreast of what you're doing. Stay in touch. Folks, you've seen Justin Emord here on Bass Musician Magazine.